Heart It Races is the very first single from the third and new album from Architecture in Helsinki. Tell us about it. It's a little bit more experimental sound, I feel. Or
okay, yeah.
You agree?
To me, it's more of a party sound. It definitely jumps out of speakers rather than sitting in your headphones. You know, it's like it's meant to be played out loud so that everybody around you can hear it, rather than, you know, meditative kind of introspective music. It's more like about sharing and that kind of interaction with people. But yeah, it's got a great beat. It kind of evolved over a time. It used to just be a cappella song that, I mean, Cameron worked out when we were walking down the street when we were on tour sometime when we were in London, and then one time we recorded.
So you were walking on the street and you were singing.
Yeah. And then we recorded. Gus recorded a tin can, hit the stick and put it into our drum sampler, and we started playing it live, and then it took on other elements. We were putting in the steel pan sound, and then when we recorded it, we got a real steel pan player from Brooklyn, you know, just over there, because Cameron was living in the neighborhood, and, you know, just like throwing in all of these things to the mix, and then it kind of grew and grew into the jam and party tune that it is now.
Do you think it represents the forthcoming album?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, it's what Kelly just said. It's a huge party track, and we like to think, well, that the whole album is like that. It's, yeah, I think it's very different. I mean, it's definitely different from past records that we've done and things like that. But it's definitely, yeah, for the record is pretty banging, and is along with that track. So, yeah.
Have you recorded in the same way that you have done before? You have always this picture about Architecture in Helsinki. Every single musician plays like 600 instruments, and you bang on everything that's there.
Yeah. Well, last time we had the luxury of recording at our own studio, so there were so many instruments around and lots of friends close by that we kind of just threw all these people into the mix. And this time we started the recording when we were in Brooklyn after a tour at the end of last year, and it was just the six of us, the members in the group, and it was the first time that we used a studio, somebody else's studio, and the first time we used like an engineer to record with as this incarnation. And it was like this load off everybody's shoulders, because we were all there and we all had equal room to have the energy to be just in the band, rather than worrying about like twiddling the knobs and like getting the best sound possible. So yeah, it was completely different. Not just that, but then we flipped it and went to Australia, because it was like freezing cold, about to turn into awful winter in New York. So we went to Australia to the summer and like just stayed in Sydney for a couple of weeks and finished it there and mixed it there, and then did some extra stuff back in Brooklyn, like the steel pan and things like that, in January, and then it was all over. All done. But yeah, it was really different to the way that we've recorded in the past. We were all there at all the time, and, you know, there was always room for experimentation, but for the most part we just kind of wanted to capture our live sound of how we've been playing the songs live, and you know, having that really kind of dynamic energy that was like ripping everything to shreds, like wanting to jump out, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the process of making the record was hugely different as well, because with Cameron living in New York, he's been here for about a year now, and the rest of us back in Australia. I guess we started making the record with Cameron putting together some ideas and sending them, you know, via the internet to us, and we'd all kind of sit in our bedrooms at home and work out little bits and then kind of come together. And it wasn't until we all I guess came over and met up in Los Angeles, it was. We spent a week rehearsing that the songs actually came together then. It was the first time we'd played them. Other than that, it was just, they existed, you know, just as MP3s and things like that. Yeah. So that was, you know, hugely different for us as well. I mean, we've never really done, you know, that sort of thing. No one really thinks about making albums via the internet and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was a very different process. But I think it's been really beneficial, I mean, for the band, I think.
In what way? I mean, beneficial?
Well, you'd think it would be kind of difficult to be in a situation where you're writing songs on the other side of the world to somebody who is sending things, and then you know, like Sam and I are in the same city but in different parts of the city and at home. But it kind of freed up this thing where it stopped being about, like, it just really came down to the songs, and we were able to sort of have a bit more of perspective and strip back and really just put in what was necessary and really keep it like, it was more about the ideas than it was about, you know, trying to get my own or something. Yeah.
We're far from like a jam band. We don't kind of all get together and spend, you know, 8 hours just jamming on a song and figuring out new parts and things. So all of us being kind of segregated and separate from each other, we all had our own ideas about the song, and then we try and mash that together. And I guess you'll be able to really tell that with a record, because it's certainly just things are going everywhere. It's a million different things that happen in that record.
Yes.
So it's so many different styles, so many different influences and things like that. So
what are the new things, if you're familiar with architecture in Helsinki from before, what are the new things that we're going to hear and recognize here?
I think that it's much more rhythmic. It's more like really tight rhythms and really tight melodies. There's less layering of things added on at the last minute, like this and then this and then this. It's like ideas, but it's all just like jam-packed together rather than sort of meandering.
You agree?
Yes.
And why have you gone more rhythmic?
I don't know. I think it came from playing live. You know, we just kind of like, when you play live, the feeling of the audience responding to you is like, I don't know, we just like gravitated towards that because it was such an amazing feeling. And when we started playing louder and turning it up, you know, like people would get more excited, and then we would feel better and creatively more fulfilled, and all these like moving in really positive direction. And then I guess that's why it kind of went to dance, you know, kind of like wanting to make people move and wanting to kind of like explore different emotions in the space of 2 minutes and 33 seconds, and like really kind of trying to make it as extreme as possible, but still, you know, it's pop songs, so hopefully have people sing and dance along, or like laugh or cry along or something. I don't know. Just, yeah, it definitely came from playing live. That